What's up, everyone? Dan here, Crypto Capital Venture, February 4th, 2019. I hope you're doing well. In this short video, I want to obviously dig into the daily chart, maybe the 4 hour a little bit on Bitcoin, but I really just want to talk briefly about the principal foundational approach that I believe is the most healthy and wise approach to Bitcoin, and namely Bitcoin accumulation. That approach is always zooming out on the daily chart, which we're zoomed out now. But I want to paint a clear picture of why we do this so often. And I'm actually going to go over real quick. You see Bitcoin on the screen, but what I want to do is I want to go to NASDAQ, long term, zoomed out NASDAQ. We're talking very zoomed out. This is a weekly chart. And I want to point your attention. This is the weekly. I want to point your attention back to 2000 to 2003, really the bottom, that 2002 leading into 2003 for NASDAQ. It was tough times for the markets, but we have two very key areas on the screen. We have the 50 EMA, we have a 200 EMA, the pink line on NASDAQ. And I just want to draw your attention to the overextension of the two. So on the weekly chart, we have from the 200 EMA an overextension of 56%, and at that bottom, and then from the 50 EMA around 40%, 40% overextension from the 50 EMA on the weekly chart. That is some strong overextension, and I would surmise that some smart investors, some smart investors utilizing some wisdom that had some experience in markets were potentially accumulating in this time period when this overextension was happening. And zoomed out on the charts, you can see the flow of NASDAQ over the years. And I really just want to highlight the foundational thing that lies behind these charts, and that is you, that is me, that is human beings. Human beings, whether NASDAQ, Bitcoin, Facebook, they are what lies behind the charts that you see. So although we're in this brand new technology, the volatility may be extreme, especially on the shorter term. You can see the volatility in Bitcoin just since 2014, right? So 5 years, pretty volatile chart. However, human beings are behind the charts. And so I think that is something key to keep in mind as you're making your decisions on what you want to do in accumulating. So let's talk about overextension. We're on the weekly chart right now. Let's look at the last bear market. Overextension from the 50 EMA. 59% overextension from the 50 EMA on the weekly chart back in 2015. Now, to get an idea of how overextended we are in this market, we've gone as low as around 53% overextended on the weekly chart. And if we have this fluid motion of Bitcoin zoomed out on the charts, and it's similar in context to NASDAQ, right? In what I mean by similar, I mean this overextension back to support above the 50 EMA, bear market to bull markets, fluidness happening, then I would safely say, or safely guess, that now might be a good time, risk included. There are no guarantees, but now might be a good time in terms of accumulating. So would this been a good time to accumulate? So overextended from the 50 EMA on NASDAQ. Would this been a good time? So overextended on 50 EMA NASDAQ. Obviously tough times, bear markets, volatility, but that is when you accumulate. You don't necessarily want to be so keen to accumulate at the tops here in a bull market, in a bull run, similar to Bitcoin. You don't want to be so keen to buy the top, right? We hear about that happening so often, FOMO. So would now be a good time to buy Bitcoin back in 2015, 60% overextended from the 50 EMA on the weekly. Would now be a good time to accumulate Bitcoin, 50 to 60% overextended on the weekly. These are very simple principles in technical analysis, the principles of moving averages, and bear market versus bull market, and simply buying the fear. And I wanted to throw that out there for you in this video. I thought it was really important. And we can take a quick glance at the daily just so we get a sense of what's going on. We'll track it, but not much has changed since the last time we've talked about it. We see this symmetrical triangle, this large symmetrical triangle on Bitcoin's daily chart, leading into a potential falling wedge. So right now, what we've been looking for, what we've been talking about, is a third retracement to the 50 EMA, also the bottom trend line of the symmetrical triangle. Will Bitcoin get it? We can talk about it. We can track it. Follow me on Twitter if you're not. That's kind of what we're looking at. But you can see some sideways trading in the last few days, and I don't want to keep doing the same videos in terms of, tracking the current movements within this small range for Bitcoin. So let me know your thoughts in terms of these moving averages, in terms of accumulating. When is a good time to accumulate, especially as many people are talking about Bitcoin as a store of value? Wouldn't it make sense then to buy the fear? Let me know your thoughts. Thank you so much for coming by today. If you're not a subscriber, hit that subscribe button. I would love to have you as part of the channel. I will see you all in the next video. Have an awesome day, and God bless.